Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Run It Back Philly. Merry Christmas, everybody. We start the first game after Christmas with a loss. You know, a lot of people say the NBA doesn't start until after Christmas, so the 76ers are 0-1 after Christmas. They lost the game right before Christmas also. The chat's cracking me up right when I came in here. You guys are on fire right now. Thank you for being here. These post-game live shows are brought to you by our friends at Bright Medical Technology. Every single post-game live show is brought to you by Bright Medical Technology of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things I want to say about this game. The way that the 76ers just pulled off an epic collapse. But first, let's pay the bills, man. Bright Medical is Pennsylvania's largest medical supplier and pharmacy specializing in oral nutrition and tube feeding supplies, incontinence supplies, ambulatory aids and respiratory products, and diabetic supplies. They work with most PA insurance companies and can deliver anywhere in Pennsylvania. They offer hand delivery services or UPS solutions, servicing patients of all ages. Bright Medical's call staff speaks 15 languages and is always live right in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Never an automated system. Don't forget they have generic ED meds, 30 tablets delivered to your door for $40. Lowest price in the area, and you'll get 10% off your order when you mention Run It Back Philly when you call. If you are unsure where to get your medical supplies, call Bright Medical today at 215-725-MEDS. That's 215-725-6337. Let's get down to business, man. For me... Oh, yeah, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hit that follow button. Thank you for all the support. For me, the story of this game is the epic collapse in the final 2:28 for the 76ers. It felt like a classic 76ers collapse. It felt like a Doc Rivers-led 76ers collapse. Not that Nick Nurse is much different than Doc Rivers. But, you know, a lot of things went well in this game. A lot of things didn't go well in this game. The Chicago Bulls aren't exactly a juggernaut. They did start the season 5-0. They came back down to earth like I predicted they would. But they did just win, I believe, their fifth game in a row. I think this was their fifth win in a row. So they were on a win streak. They were hot. You know, the 76ers had every chance in the world to win the game. And the final 2:28, they absolutely collapsed. Let's go through what happened in that final 2:28. First of all, 10-0 run for the Chicago Bulls to end the game. The 76ers did not score a point in the final 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the game. They were leading 102-99 with 2:28 left. And they gave up 10 straight points to the Chicago Bulls without scoring a single point. They were up 102-99, and they lost 109-102. Let's look at what happened in that 10-0 run. The spark of that run was Joel Embiid getting yammed on. Baseline. Hold on, let me get his name right because I don't want to be disrespectful here because it was a nice dunk, and it was Jason Smith. Hold on, Jalen Smith, I'm sorry. You know, Mr. Rec Specs himself. Apparently those Rec Specs gave him super leaping powers because he drove baseline and just yammed right on Embiid's head. And I'm not dissing Embiid for that. I thought he was going to like lay it in or get fouled. I didn't see that dunk coming. But it did seem like it sparked something in the Chicago Bulls. That big-time poster dunk on the baseline. That sparked the Bulls' 10-0 run. From then... Kobe White, the very next possession, had a very awkward dribble move, ISO on Embiid. It looked like those 2K players that just moved the stick back and forth real fast. It wasn't even a real dribble move. It was just like anyway, step back three for Kobe White right after that. Then we got a Maxey air ball on a three that hit the bottom of the backboard. Then Kobe White drives, falls down. Should the Sixers come away with the ball when a player drives and falls down? No, he actually hits an assist, a backdoor cut, because Tyrese Maxey was ball watching while Kobe White was laying on the ground. So Kobe White falls over and gets an assist to I forget who it was that finished it. Who cares? But Maxey was just standing there, didn't look at his man, backdoor cut. Very next possession, Maxey drives on Vucevic. That was the full court play set up by Nick Nurse. And I don't know what Maxey was trying to do, but Vucevic was in perfect position and just blocked the shot off the backboard. Joel Embiid and VJ Edgecombe, I believe, combined for a block on the next possession. But Trey Jones gets an offensive rebound, his second offensive rebound in a row. Then Joel Embiid shoots a three, another air ball, and then Tyrese Maxey misses another layup. So in those final minutes, bro, back-to-back offensive rebounds by Trey Jones amongst the trees, right? A backdoor cut assist from Kobe White as he's laying on the floor. Joel Embiid got dunked on. Tyrese Maxey shot an air ball. Tyrese Maxey missed a layup. Joel Embiid shot an air ball. It was just an absolute disaster, the final 2:28 of that game, and that was the story of the game for me. Whatever you want to say, good things happen, bad things happen. Sixers made runs, Bulls made runs. They were up by one, they were down by one. It was close the whole fourth quarter. The end of it was the end of it. The Sixers got absolutely destroyed in the last 2:28. They completely fell apart and got out hustled. And it gave me very bad feelings like those New York Knicks playoff games where in crunch time, the Sixers just can't get a rebound. Just can't get a rebound. That was my take on it. Now there's a lot of people wiling out in the chat. I will say, Embiid slander in the chat. Someone says audio skipping. If you're having audio issues, refresh the page. My cat's flying. Get out of here! God. Anybody want a cat? I'll give her to you for free. Yeah, let's talk about Joel Embiid, man. He had 31. I don't think we can say anything negative about Joel Embiid coming out and having 31 points in an NBA game after I've called him cooked so many times this season. The Sixers started the game. I thought they started the game with a philosophy of playing the game from the perimeter and not so much just dumping the ball to Joel Embiid and watching like they did the game before. I thought they played a much more of a team game at the start. Maxey, VJ on the perimeter, even Paul George, and then Joel Embiid kind of fitting in, roaming around the free throw line and on the block. And it looked more of like a team game. They started the game 13-2, right? And then they started going to Embiid. And Joel was good offensively. He was making a lot of shots. He has nights where he had a game a couple games ago where he couldn't make a shot. He has games where he can't miss a shot. It felt like he couldn't miss for a lot of this game. He was making everything. So shout out to that. It doesn't shock me. I know that he can score when his shot's falling because he's so skilled. And Joel, I thought he was getting physical. I thought there was a couple turnovers in the first quarter of him trying to get physical against Zach Collins, but I really think that's just, him trying to get the pace of the game and everything back. But I credit him for being physical, getting on the block, giving guys a big shoulder to the chest, getting his vintage Joel Embiid post moves going. And he was doing that most of the game. He was playing defense. He was giving effort down there. You could argue that the Sixers looked better when Andre Drummond was in there because of the rebounding. You could argue that they looked better when Adem Bona was in there in the fourth quarter because of the speed and the end-to-end game. But I didn't think... I'm comparing Joel Embiid, I think, to what he's looked like this whole season. And I actually think he looked really good on both ends. This is one of the best games Joel Embiid's played this whole season, to be totally honest with you. Because even the game where he had 39, like a couple weeks ago, he was so bad defensively and rebounding at that point. So I do think he's getting up to speed. As far as like the defensive side of the floor, that was my main issue with him when he started playing this season. So I thought this was one of Joel Embiid's best games. Now, he did go to the tunnel in the third quarter because that's just where we are now. Joel Embiid... We're lucky if he plays 2 games in a row. We're lucky if he plays 2 games in a week. And when it just seems like, he's having a great game. And, of course, he fell down a lot of times. But he was holding his knee at one point. and he went into the locker room. And that's not shocking to me. That's just what it is now. Joel almost can't even make it a full NBA game at this point. And then he came back in the game in the fourth. And I made a comment that he was limping onto the floor. I've never seen a player limp onto the floor. Like, Joel's back, and here he is, like, limping out onto the floor. I don't know, man. He's so talented. He's so good. I'm not going to say anything really negative about him in this game because I thought he had a good game. But the fact that he fell 15 times and held his knee and then went to the locker room and came back and limped onto the floor, I don't know what to say, man. So if you guys are saying Joel Embiid is cooked, if you mean like physically, I kind of agree with you that it looks like he struggles to play an entire NBA game. But he did have a good game. I can't even say, that he didn't have a good game. I thought he had a good game. Tyrese Maxey in this one. He was back and forth. He again missed some layups that he usually makes. Had some runs. Had a 27, 4, and 8. Let me get my stats on the screen here. Maxey had 27, 4, and 8. Plus minus was a 0, so not in the negative, not in the positive. Again, those final couple of plays for Tyrese Maxey, the air ball 3, then the missed left-handed layup, then the layup that got blocked by Vucevic, then the backdoor cut while Kobe White is laying on the floor. I thought Maxey had a terrible final couple of minutes in this game, and if I'm going to be fair, I've trashed a lot of players on this team, and I'm not going to trash Tyrese Maxey because of what he's done so much this season, but I am going to say that he had a terrible couple of final minutes of this game, and if you're going to fault somebody for the Sixers losing this one, I would point to the final couple of minutes for Tyrese Maxey, to be honest with you. I would, and that's coming off of his worst game of the season 2 games ago. So, hey, at least he didn't have as bad of a game as he had last game. If you want to call that a game and a half slump, if you even want to call this a 2-game slump, that's fine. I think Tyrese Maxey will be absolutely fine. But, so far this season, we've gotten just superhero ball from Tyrese Maxey in the fourth quarter. He was leading the NBA in fourth quarter points for a long time. We were so used to him bringing us home in the fourth. And now it's 2 games in a row now where Tyrese Maxey couldn't bring us home in the fourth quarter. But, I thought he had some good moments. I thought he had some bad moments. The end of the game for Tyrese Maxey was really bad. I will say that. Paul George, on the other hand, he did basically a whole bunch of nothing in this game, really, Paul George did. He had a run, end of the third quarter where he hit back-to-back threes, right? And then he hit another 3 to start the fourth. That was basically it for Paul George. He was 5 for 15, 4 for 9. Was playing defense, was doing what he usually does. But I did feel like Paul George was a little bit, disengaged in this game. I feel like we got Paul George in this game looked a lot like he looked last season, which like he didn't care that much, like just kind of jogging up and down the floor, shooting a jump shot here and there. If I make my shots, you're gonna get 20. If I miss them, I'm kind of a wash. 12 rebounds, though. You got to credit Paul George for the 12 rebounds. Would have been nice for him to get one in those final couple of minutes when the 76ers gave up back-to-back rebounds to Trey Jones to lose the game. But, good game for Joel Embiid, I think. I think a so-so game for Tyrese Maxey, but a really bad final couple of minutes. And Paul George was kind of podcast P in this one, if you ask me. VJ Edgecombe, I'm disappointed in not just in VJ Edgecombe's performance this game, because he had some great moments. He had some great drives to the rim. He had some great, aggressive takes. His shot wasn't falling. He was 4 for 13 from the field. So a couple times, where like Joel draws a double team and kicks it out to VJ, and he usually hits those threes. We're so used to him hitting those threes. He's been such a good three-point shooter so far this season. He was just missing them. The one in the fourth quarter, I yelled money out loud because he's been so money, especially in the fourth quarter. And Joel kicked it out to him after getting double-teamed, and it was a wide-open 3, and he missed it. I think, Nick Nurse didn't really do anything to get VJ involved in the game specifically. Maybe he doesn't really do anything ever to get any particular player involved in the game. Maybe it's just, it's just here's the ball, go do things. If it works out, it works out. And a player like VJ, he's going to be up and down because he's a rookie. I would have liked to see more strategy. I would have liked to see more like the game plan involve him more in this game. Although, he got off 13 shots. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just makes or misses. Maybe that's just me pulling at strings or whatever you want to call it. But VJ had 10. I will say that I think VJ Edgecombe needs to dunk the damn basketball, man. Like, I'm actually getting tired of him driving to the rim and trying these hang in the air, acrobatic layups and getting blocked by everybody in the NBA. I think Nick Nurse and everybody needs to tell VJ Edgecombe, hey, you can jump higher than maybe any player that's ever played for this team. Andre Iguodala, who else are we going to throw in there? KJ McDaniels and Dr. J. Dunk the damn basketball, man. He has drives that are like aggressive drives. Full speed. And then he just does this like hang and double pump in the air and up and under, and it's blocked by, it's blocked by Josh Giddey or whoever. So VJ, dunk the ball, please. But VJ's shot wasn't falling, but he did have a couple of nice takes to the rim, and he was aggressive. I guess we're gonna talk about, the chat seems to be talking about Nick Nurse because he did not play Dominic Barlow in that final lineup, and the 76ers got killed on the boards. So if we're gonna do a rotation watch in this one, I guess we're gonna go Nick Nurse. Not playing Dominic Barlow in the final lineup. He had Grimes out there. I credited Nick Nurse the past couple of games for playing Jared McCain in the fourth quarter lineups alongside Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. You knew he was going to have Paul George and Joel Embiid out there for rebounding and defensive purposes. I would have liked Dominic Barlow to be on the floor in that final lineup versus Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes wasn't having a good game. Quentin Grimes, I feel like now hasn't had a good game in a long time. And I still... you can kind of tell that Nick Nurse gets favorites, right? He certain guys, certain players grow on him, and he doesn't seem to be able to separate from his favorites. And Quentin Grimes is one of those guys. For some reason, Nick Nurse absolutely loves him. And Grimes was playing defense in this game. He always plays defense. He's a great defender. So maybe that's the reason. But when he's 1 for 4 in 26 minutes, when he gave you 2 entire points in 26 minutes, and he's a minus 21. I mean, he was probably a minus 11 before that 10-0 run. But he wasn't basically doing anything out there the whole game with the ball in his hands or on the offensive side of the ball. And so Nurse goes with Grimes in that final lineup, and, you probably... maybe you win that game if you have Dominic Barlow out there to help out the rebounding situation. But again, maybe that's just me looking for a reason, because the real reason is that Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid just forgot how to play basketball in the final 2 minutes of the game, and the Bulls beat them. A 10-0 run, at the end of a game is pretty sad. It really is. There's my take on that loss. I thought Adem Bono was serviceable when he got in the game in the fourth quarter. Only had 8 minutes in the game. I think Nurse is struggling to, rotate Drummond, Embiid, and Bona because you don't know when you're going to have Joel Embiid. He has to decide on a nightly basis if he's going to go with Andre Drummond or Adem Bona at backup center. The Bulls are one of the fastest paced teams in the NBA. They are top 3 or 4 pace. They're top 3 or 4 transition teams in the NBA. So I think if you were doing a real scouting report, deciding what your lineups are going to be, Dembona would be the backup center for this game to keep up the pace because, Andre Drummond is as slow as Joel Embiid is. So you're going to have Embiid out there. You're not going to keep up with the pace because he's slow. So you probably should have went with a Dembona as kick this one off maybe to try to keep up with the Bulls' transition pace. But he didn't do that. He didn't play Mbona until the fourth quarter. I thought Andre Drummond had some good stints in this game rebounding-wise, although he only had 4 rebounds. I guess I'm wrong about that. He was 25% from the field. Not that he ever shoots the ball well. He did shoot 2 contested three-pointers in the first half, which I don't know. I don't know. One of them was ill-advised. The other one, the shot clock was running down. It is odd that Nick Nurse decides randomly to go away from, Drummond and then go to a Dembona to close the game. It's almost like he's just throwing stuff out there to see what works. But either way, none of this matters. Legitimately, none of this matters because Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid sold the game in the final 2 minutes. They just completely forgot how to play. Air balls, terrible defense, whatever you want to say it was. I could try to deep dive into all the other reasons that they lost this game, but that's my take on it, man. Nusu TV, thank you so much for the super chat. I think the Bulls realized not to be scared of Embiid. As with the Jalen poster, Philly had the opportunity to win with Giddey playing bad and white. Yeah, they held Josh Giddey in check. The last time we played the Chicago Bulls, Josh Giddey had a 32-point triple-double, I believe. He had, 9 points in this game? Josh Giddey did. Where's Josh Giddey? He had 12, 6, and 11. He was 3 for 12 from the field. And Josh Giddey had a couple of open threes. I saw that he just absolutely missed. So was it the Sixers keeping him in check, or was it him just not being able to buy a bucket? We'll let the basketball gods decide that one. But you hold Josh Giddey to 12, 6, and 11, and you still find a way to lose this game. I thought they were going to win this game. I really did. I don't understand how they ended up losing this game. I really don't, dude. I really don't. Bernard McCoy 578. Thank you for the super chat. I can't do this anymore. This team will never be in the flow due to always changing lineups. Team has the lowest basketball IQ I have ever seen. Wow. Bernard McCoy, thank you for the $5 super chat. And 350 people in here. Thank you for being here. Do me a favor. Hit the like button on YouTube. Give me 350 likes. And hit the follow button on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for us. Bernard, I think... Look, I know you guys didn't like my take on the loss to the Nets because I wasn't tripping, and I was like, they couldn't buy a bucket. It is what it is. I'm not really mad about the loss. Now they lose this one to the Bulls. I don't know. I'm still having trouble being upset at losses because of how I feel about the team overall recently. Although they are 0-4 with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George all playing. So they that's not good. That's not good at all. I think they're 10-6 without Joel Embiid overall. But they are 0-4 with all 3 players active. And so I guess there is a problem there. I mean, it's pretty obvious that, when they play without Joel, it's a guard-heavy game. Maxey and VJ fly up and down the floor and run the show. And then, Joel gets out there. It's a little bit slower of a game. But really, man, make or miss league. If you look at VJ, if VJ isn't... where you at, VJ? If VJ isn't 4 for 13, if maybe VJ's 7 for 13, they win this game. If Paul George isn't 5 for 15, if Paul George is maybe 7 or 8 for 15, they win this game. If they could get a rebound in the final 2 minutes, maybe they win the game. If Maxey or Joel Embiid could know how to play basketball in those final 2 minutes, maybe they win this game. So maybe I'm just damn, man, am I really being the positive one again? Maybe I'm just I'm feeling good about them overall. I really am. And, I'm not one to see a loss like this and I can't do this anymore. Like, that's a little bit extreme to me. It really is, man. Basketball is a game of runs. And when you have a couple of guys that can't make a shot the whole game and then, ball bounces the wrong way a bunch of times in the final 2 minutes, it just is what it is. They have a decent record for all the stuff they've been through this season so far. So I'm not tripping. If the Sixers were like, here's the thing. They started the season last season 5-20. Do you remember that? Your words, I can't do this anymore. That's what I was saying last season when they were playing Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Reggie Jackson every night, and they were 5-20. That's how I was reacting to those games. I like this team so much more right now than I did last season. I can't react to a loss like this and say, I can't do this anymore or anything that extreme. Yet, this is 2 losses in a row after winning back-to-back games against the Knicks and Mavs. So I think if this losing streak continues, then I'll start to get there. But I felt so good about this team after that back-to-back win that these 2 losses in a row hasn't phased me that much. Heezy8954, thank you for the super chat. Embiid was our best player tonight. Even defensively, he wasn't that bad. But reading this comment section, are fans tired of him? Is it time for a trade? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing, Heezy. This comment section, this chat, along with Twitter and the rest of the internet, it just is what it is. When the Sixers lose, the sky is falling down. When the Sixers win, we're championship contenders. And yeah, this live chat since I started this show tonight has been unbelievably negative after a couple of bad losses. And sometimes I'm just like, bro, act like you've been here before. Teams go on 2-game losing streaks. It's just not that crazy. They didn't score a point in the last 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the game. So I'm not tripping that much. And are people tired of Embiid? I guess I didn't even answer your question. Reading this comment section, are fans tired of him? Yes, fans are tired of him, and here's why also. Fans got really high on the Tyrese Maxey VJ Edgecombe game, the beginning of this season, right? And when the Sixers started 4-0, all anybody was saying in the chat, all over the internet, even when I went out, to my local spots, people see me and be like, hey, they need to hand the keys over to these guys. They got to get rid of Embiid and PG. This is the future. And I'm like, yes, but they're also trying to win this season, and VJ Edgecombe's a 20-year-old rookie. What do you mean? Like, they can develop VJ Edgecombe and continue to build a young athletic roster while also trying to win in this window they're in right now. You don't have to just go into rebuild mode immediately because, second of all, you're not going to get anything in a Joel Embiid trade anyway. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I do think fans are tired of Joel Embiid because they're so excited for the new era of Sixers basketball and VJ Edgecombe and Maxey and high energy running up and down the floor, and then they see Joel Embiid out there limping around, falling over. Even like the hook under, foul baiting stuff, like it's old. And I think that's how the fans feel about it. But I don't think it's legitimate to criticize Joel Embiid after this game because I think this is the best game I've seen him play this season. And you said, is it time for a trade? There's no trade that the 76ers can make. Joel Embiid is scheduled to make $150 million over the next 3 seasons on the extension that hasn't even kicked in yet. And he can't finish a basketball game in 2025. He is paid $59 million in 2026, $64 million in 2027, and $69 million in 2028-29. And right now in 2025, he appears to not be able to finish an entire basketball game or hardly even get on the floor for that matter. So why would anybody trade? Why would anybody pay that money for Joel Embiid right now, bro? You know what I mean? Eastwood, you think we still need a point guard? No, man. No, I don't think we do because I think the Maxey and VJ, and thank you for the super chat. Green Blaze, the Fly Eagles 6048. Thank you for the super chat. I think the back-to-back wins over the Knicks and Mavs, I saw some really nice fourth quarter lineups that included Jared McCain in there. And so even with Maxey not being so much of a half-court facilitating style point guard, I thought you got that dynamic with Jared McCain being on the floor. VJ Edgecombe has shown some point guard abilities too in his early career, and I think it's, it depends on the lineups, it depends on the matchup, but no, I don't think they need a traditional, Chris Paul style point guard to be able to win games. Embiid, John 4595 says Embiid was not good. He kills the pace of play. Well, he had 31, 5, and 1, and they were a +2 with him on the floor. So, I mean, technically, he was good. It wasn't like a +20 or anything, but technically, the Sixers were better with Joel Embiid on the floor in this game, and he had 31 and 5. Do they win without Joel Embiid tonight? Probably not, because look, VJ Edgecombe couldn't buy a bucket, Paul George couldn't buy a bucket, so I don't understand. I don't understand how you could say Joel wasn't good in this game when he had 31 and 5, and the Sixers had a chance to win it down the stretch, although Embiid and Maxey were both very bad in the final couple of minutes. E-Train9, thank you for being a member of the channel. Joel is that old man that can cook you in horse, but he ain't playing you one-on-one. His knees won't let him. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not going with him. I'm not going with Embiid slander in this one because, again, I think this is the best game he played this season, and they should have won the game. They should have won the game. Bernard McCoy, thank you for the super chat. Should be 20-9. Road trip will change your tune. Should be 20-9. All right, let's go to the standings. We'll look at the standings. We'll look at the next couple of games coming up for the 76ers, and we'll talk about it. Should be 20-9. What really do you mean by that? The Sixers are 16-13. The way that this chat sounds tonight, you would think the Sixers are 9-19, like the Brooklyn Nets, or 11-20, like the Charlotte Hornets, or the 12-19 Milwaukee Bucks. That's, Bucks fans are probably not too happy lately. But I still can't look at the Sixers record right now, given the fact that it took them, 8 games to get Joel Embiid on the floor. It took them 8 games to get Paul George out there. They're rotating different lineups every, maybe we'll see some wins. And also, people being mad that Joel Embiid's playing or whatever, because when he doesn't play, they have so much more pace and they play a faster game and it looks a lot more fun. And I get it, but that's not going to change right now anyway. So, Joel Embiid playing for the 76ers right now is not going to change. You guys can complain about it after every game if you want to, right? Every game you could say, Joel shouldn't be out there. He slows down the game. Well, he's going to be out there. They owe him money until 2029. He's going to be out there. They have absolutely no choice but to try to get Joel Embiid up to speed by the time the playoffs come around. And to be honest with you, he looks like he's coming up to speed pretty well. A lot better than I thought a couple of weeks ago. So if he continues to do what he's doing and racks up some consistent games without getting hurt, maybe he's a solid version of himself in the playoffs. And then if it doesn't work this season, then I think you're going to see the 76ers start to try to make some massive changes this offseason. But right now, there's no real point in, constantly saying Joel shouldn't be out there or something like that. And to say they should be 20-9, I don't really know what you mean by that. There was 4 games that you felt like they should have across the whole league, every NBA game every night. One team wins and one team loses, and one team has a bad couple of minutes at the end and loses a game they should have won. I mean, you could say the Celtics should be 24-6. You could say the Knicks should be 15-14 because they look, I don't know. What's the road trip? Let's look at it. Philly Fred, thank you for the super chat. Should Embiid have took a pay cut last offseason? Should Embiid have taken a pay cut? I don't know what that means. Do you mean on the extension that they signed him? Should it not have been a max extension? Yes. Yes, it should not have been a max extension whatsoever. It should have been heavily guarded. What's the word for a contract? A contract that has... It should have been heavily stipulated. It should have been a contract full of stipulations. Yeah, it should have been. It should have been, hey, we're going to give you this extension, but here's the deal. If this, or that, if you can't play the first 20 games of the season, we get to just cancel this thing. If we feel like, you just look like you can't go, we get, because an extension till 2029 and it's hard for him to play a whole game in 2025 is pretty crazy. But I don't know how you would even work out a contract like that. They just shouldn't have signed the extension because they knew he was injured. They just shouldn't have signed the extension at all. This season right now should be Joel Embiid's last season in the NBA. I hate to say that, but it should. There shouldn't be a 3-year extension. He's 31 with 4 knee surgeries. He's struggling to play a full game. And he was great. By the way, if you're just coming in here and you're hearing me talk about Embiid like this, he was great tonight. What I'm saying is he can still be great like he was tonight. But he went to the locker room in the third quarter. It seems like he can no longer play a whole game. And then he limps back onto the floor. So Sixers are 16-13. Toronto Raptors, I still think that's a fake record. They're going to fall out of there. They're 18-14. Get Toronto out of here. So Sixers, in my opinion, are the 4th seed right now behind the Boston Celtics at 19-11. I feel like the Boston Celtics have figured some things out. They've been winning lately. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And that's wild because they traded Porzingis. They traded Drew Holiday. But Derek White is so damn good. Jaylen Brown's been great lately also. So the Boston Celtics, they weren't supposed to be anything this season with Jason Tatum, missing the whole season with that Achilles tear. That's why they traded some of those players to try to rework contracts and kind of take a leap season. And in the Boston Celtics leap season, they're in the 3rd seed right now at 19-11. The New York Knicks are 21-9, 8-2 in their last 10. The Detroit Pistons are 24-6. But if you ask me, the 76ers, with everybody on the floor, Kelly Oubre, Trendon Watford, everybody available, if they can compete with the Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics, my answer is yes. I don't think any of these teams in the East are a team that the 76ers, with everybody available, can't compete with. I don't at all. Now on the West Coast, if you're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Spurs who have beat the Thunder twice now, Thunder Spurs, bro, that's really it. Those are the 2 juggernauts of the NBA right now. Is it annoying that the Spurs built a winning roster around Wemby in 2 years and the Sixers failed to build a winning roster around Joel Embiid in 10 years? Yes. And it's presumably a winning roster. It looks like a winning roster. We don't know if it is a winning roster yet, but Wemby's on his way to being the face of the league, and then you got De'Aaron Fox and Stephen Castle and Dylan Harper. I mean, they just put so many ball handling guards around Wemby. The Spurs are good, man. But anyway, let's look at the Sixers' next couple of games and decide how we feel about the rest of this road trip, since somebody said this road trip is going to change. This road trip is going to change my tune, Bernard McCoy said. Let's see what this road trip is looking like. Philly Fred, how you feel about Herb Jones to Philly? A defender with not a whole lot of offensive game. I got Quentin Grimes. I feel like I like Herb Jones, but does Herb Jones change the 76ers whatsoever? The answer to that is no. Absolutely not. Getting Herb Jones on the 76ers would change this team 0%. Honestly, that's what I think. Let's look at the road trip here, and then we'll be out of here, man. Schedule. Let's see. Here we go. Oh shit. I didn't know. I didn't even know, dude. I didn't know, man. I didn't know it was the Thunder on Sunday. Oklahoma City Thunder, 3:30 on Sunday. It depends, if everybody plays. But if the Thunder have their whole roster out there, Sixers are going to have a tough time. But I'm still not saying they can't beat them. I've seen the Thunder struggle when teams slow down SGA. And if you can get a game where SGA's shot's not falling particularly, or you can slow him down from the perimeter a little bit, the Thunder struggle to score when SGA's not having a great game. I've seen that several times now, all the way back to the NBA Cup last season, and then the couple of times the Spurs beat them. But realistically, the Thunder should beat the 76ers with their defensive ability is unbelievable. Their rebounding, their interior defense, everything. So, but I'm not saying it's a definite loss. Memphis? Why are you guys saying 0-5 road trip, bro? Why are you guys saying 0-5? Memphis? Dallas? Why are you guys saying 0-5? They got Memphis and Dallas in there. The Memphis Grizzlies are nothing this season. What are the Memphis Grizzlies doing here, bro? Has Ja Morant even played this season? The Memphis Grizzlies, what's their record? Why doesn't it show me the record? Oh, Ja Morant played tonight. He had 17 in his return, and they beat the Bucks. Well, the Bucks are terrible also. But the Sixers can beat Memphis. Dallas is one of the hottest teams right now. They are. Guess who they just lost to? 3 games ago. The Philadelphia 76ers. Why do you guys act like you forgot what happened 7 days ago? The Sixers just beat the Mavericks. Legitimately last Sunday. 6 days ago. Sixers can beat the Mavs. And look, I like Cooper Flagg a lot. But when your team is run by an 18-year-old, I'm not scared of you. Come on, man. You can't act like, the Mavericks, Cooper Flagg, they're dominating the NBA. What are they going to win the NBA championship with an 18-year-old leading the charge? Come on, man. Sixers can beat Memphis. Sixers can beat the Mavs. Sixers just beat the Knicks 7 days ago. So we can beat the Grizzlies. We can beat the Mavs. We can beat the Knicks. I don't know why you guys are bugging about this road trip. The way you were talking about this road trip, I thought I was going to see OKC, San Antonio, Detroit, Boston, and Houston. Memphis and Dallas in there? Come on, man. Nah, I ain't tripping. You're not bringing me down yet. Now, like I said, if the Sixers continue this losing streak, I will start to lean more on the negative side of things. But what I've seen from them recently, I've liked. You guys in the chat have short-term memory. They lose a game and you forget about all the good things that happened. So I ain't tripping yet, man. But yeah, Sixers, epic collapse tonight. It wasn't fun. But we'll be back on Sunday against OKC. And we'll see what they look like then. Thank you guys so much for contributing in the chat. I appreciate you, even if I disagree with every single one of you. I love you, and I'll see you soon.